Oh my god.
Did you order this to size?
No. This is like, this was pure game of chance.
Hey, how's it going? So we're back for another one, and before we get into this one, I would just want to say thank you to all the new people who have joined here, and all the OGs who have been here for a while, who are sticking around through the transition, going from bikes to business and screen printing. Unreal. It is so fucking cool to open up YouTube every day and read the comments from people who are so unbelievably positive about everything I'm doing right now. So cool. I've been doing YouTube for, I don't know, 3-4 years now. Long enough to know that when you upload a video, there's gonna be at least a solid handful of people in the comments who have the IQ equivalent of a turd baking in the hot sun, but unbelievably, that's not been happening. Everyone's been super positive. All the OGs to the channel have been like super interested in all the new stuff we're transitioning into, and to be fully embraced by the screen printing and apparel community. I'm at a loss for words. It's so fucking cool to see. Anyways, we won't get super crazy into that. I just want to say thank you and acknowledge the stuff I'm seeing from you guys. It's amazing. But as I've mentioned in the last couple videos, we got some new equipment. Yes, I know it looks like I've been just perpetually installing equipment in here, but I swear this is the last time for a little while. So first up in this box, we've got the backlight system for my washout booth. Can't wait to put that on because that's just gonna make life easier. The only thing that I'm unsure about is if I'm going to install this on camera today or not, because it looks like I'm gonna have to pull the washout booth away from the wall quite a bit to get this on there, and I'm not sure if that drain is gonna have enough slack to be able to do so, so I might have to get a plumber in here to redo that for me, but we're gonna give it a shot. If you end up seeing it in this video, it means there was enough room. And now the part that I'm really excited about. The drying cabinet's here. So this is gonna be a game changer, I guarantee it. And I didn't get to actually film the whole, you know, delivery and installation whole deal because it actually showed up completely unannounced a day earlier than it should have, which is kind of awesome. And I was just not prepared for it. And actually this thing was kind of ridiculous to get in here. I set up a little bit of a time lapse. Seriously, like a millimeter on each side getting this thing through the door. Like I got so lucky. So that kind of worked out. Holy shit. So I haven't used it yet, but upon first glance of this thing, quality-wise, it's about 70-30 good and bad. The good, it's got a ton of fans in it. We're talking like 20 fans in this thing. And it heats up super fast, I think like 8 minutes or so. The box itself seems pretty robust. I mean, it's just a simple aluminum box. Most people can build that pretty easily, but otherwise it's pretty good. Now, the two things that I found already that I hate about this thing, they are fixable. The first thing is the door itself does not seal worth a shit. So I'm gonna have to put some different type of sealer on there, so a better gasket, because right now it's just like some little felt strip, which isn't gonna seal anything. And you wanna keep that positive pressure in this thing, obviously, to keep things from floating around inside of it. So we'll do something about that, and obviously it'll help retain the heat a little better and it won't have to work as hard. And now the other thing, which I don't like to bash products on video, but this has to be the most colossally stupid setup I've ever seen in my life, is that the main power switch on the front only turns off the heaters. It doesn't turn off the fans. To turn off the fans, you have to go around to the back bottom corner of this thing to flip the main power switch off, which is like in the most inconvenient spot in the world. Like you actually have to roll the thing out, or you have to squeeze your fat ass into some tight little spot and bend down to the bottom to get it. Really dumb. So what I'm gonna do is definitely in the future, not now, but a week or two from now, I'm gonna take it apart and relocate that switch to the front, because that's what they should have done the first time. Otherwise, oh, that sun is outrageous. Otherwise, we have not used that thing at all, and today we're gonna test it out to find out if it's more efficient and just how much more efficient it is. If you haven't figured out by now, I've got a serious hard-on for efficiency and making things work as smoothly as possible around here, because I'm one guy operating 2 businesses. That means I have to take care of 2 full-time jobs in a day by myself, and every second that I can shave off of something while still keeping the quality high, it counts big time. So I have a feeling that this thing is gonna be a huge game changer as far as efficiency goes in a few areas. Number one being the wait time for it to dry from the washing, degreasing stage. Pretty self-explanatory there. It's gonna chop that down drastically, so we're saving time. Second, which is the huge one and the most important one, is cutting down the time for waiting for the emulsion to cure. Properly cured emulsion, which let me emphasize properly cured, takes roughly between 12 to 24 hours if you're letting it air dry. And yes, I know you can use them within an hour or two if you just sit them in front of a fan. I've done it before. I know plenty of shops that do it, but to me, I just don't like that. So this thing should take that 12 hours or so wait time down to like an hour or less is what I'm kind of guessing at here, just judging from the temperature it runs and the fans in there and stuff. That's what I'm hoping for. And it also has the ability to decrease your operating costs in the long run, because obviously you're gonna have less of a chance of, you know, dirt and dust and crap floating around in the air, landing on your freshly coated screens and turning them to shit, and then you're gonna have to do them all over again. And when a screen only cures for like an hour or two and you expose it, your film positive sticks to the back, rips the ink off, it's garbage. So if you can keep those positives for jobs especially that you know are going to be return jobs, that money's going to add up in the long run too. The way that we're going to test this thing today is obviously by prepping, coating, and exposing some screens. One thing that I implement around here is trying to help other businesses similar to myself that may not have the same equipment or the means to do everything they need to do. One of my best friends in the world who owns 204 Skate Shop has set up a screen printing press in the back of that place, and he's been cranking out tons of work and, you know, all their shop gear and all that stuff, which is amazing. He hasn't had a chance to set up a dark room and get all that equipment yet. So today we're gonna make him some screens and get him going with what he needs to do. So we've got a few boxes of screens over there, some for him, some for me, and I've made him a couple new designs that we're gonna put onto those screens. The first one being, well, the one on this hat. It's been around for a little while. I made this one months ago, but we're gonna put that on some shirts now. And then I just recently made him a Super Nintendo lookalike logo that we're gonna put on there today, which is gonna be super awesome. And I'm also going to mix him a custom Pantone purple to match the purple on the buttons on the Super Nintendo itself. So that's gonna be pretty sweet, I think. I don't know, I'm sick of talking here. I wanna work. Let's do stuff. Well, I guess I was able to fit this back there, huh? Pretty good. The only problem I have with it is, oh shit, I have to go that. There we go. These mounting brackets hang out way too far. Like, this is an unnecessary amount for this thing to stick out from the back of this wall. So again, like the cabinet, I'm gonna come back later and fix that. We're gonna cut those like 2-3 inches shorter for sure and get it tighter up against there so we can move this closer to the wall. But otherwise, for now, good enough. Also, check out the instructions that came with this thing. Nobody pulled any muscles there. Okay, so to try to make this test apply to as many different people's situations as possible, I put 3 screens in there. First one that I rinsed, I hit with the air compressor, blew all the water off of it. Obviously, not everyone has an air compressor in their shop, so the second screen, I rinsed it and just kind of like banged the edge of the frame on the tub just to kind of shake a little bit of the water off. And then the third one just went straight from rinse to inside the dryer. So let's see how long it takes to get those things dry. In the meantime, I guess fill the scoop coater, get the emulsion ready. So scratch that idea because we've already got progress here. It's been about 4 minutes and the top one that I hit with the air compressor, already bone dry. Craziness. The one that I kind of tapped off here, give that another minute or two and it's gonna be dry. The one that went in there fully soaked, I'd say 2-3 minutes and it's gonna be fully dry. So I'm gonna stop doing stuff. I'll give you an exact time when I pull them out. Okay, there. The dry screen. Actually, all of them are dry. So I paid close attention to them. Didn't film that, obviously, because who wants to watch me just like literally stand there and watch water dry? So the one that I hit with the air compressor and blew most of the water off, that one dried in about 4 minutes. Let's call it 5 to be generous. The one that I kind of banged on the side of the tub and shook some of the water off, that one dried in like, I think it was like 8.5 minutes, something like that. And then the one that was fully soaking wet took about 10-11 minutes to dry. So pretty amazing. Like, that's a huge time saver already. The one that was fully soaking wet, that one's the one that impressed me the most because that had seriously like a full cup of water on it, like inside the frame and all the beads on the mesh and everything. So for it to dry in like 11 minutes, that's pretty awesome. But around here we do have an air compressor that gets used every time a screen gets rinsed off. So the fact that I only have to wait 4 minutes for that thing before I can coat it, that's a lot less time where I'm standing around waiting for like, you know, half hour, 45 minutes, sometimes an hour for those things to dry, that's a huge time saver. But the true test, let's get some emulsion on these things. All right, so the timer's going. I'm gonna check these things in a little bit longer intervals just because I know it's obviously not gonna dry like water does. I think I'm gonna check them out in like 20-minute intervals and see kind of where they're at. So until then, let's go get the artwork and the positives and all that sorted out. Okay, so it's been about 2 hours and I've been checking on them periodically throughout that time. The first check was at 20 minutes and at 20 minutes, one was like, it was borderline usable. I would say in a pinch, usable. So then I checked back in an hour and I actually pulled that one out just to test it. It seemed super dry, so I pulled that one out and now I've still got the other two in there that have been there for 2 hours. So let's, I don't know, let's give this a whirl and see what happens. So that was our 1 hour dry time screen. Films did not stick to it whatsoever. No ink left behind, so I don't know, let's test the washout, and I think we're good. Well, that one worked perfectly, so now I know an hour for sure. I'm gonna start trying to push that lower and lower and lower, not today, but I'll let you know how that goes. But 5 minutes to dry and an hour to have a perfectly cured screen, that's gonna save me a ton of time. I'm super pumped on this. I guess let's do the rest of these things, huh? Well, it goes without saying, but I'm very happy I made that purchase. There was actually one screen that I was only like 99.9% happy with, which by most people's standards is like, it's good enough, but we set a new standard around here. And actually the only way that I noticed it was I got this tiny little magnifying glass thing and I just wanted to see what it looked like, so I was looking around on the screen and I actually saw it. My printer was starting to run out of ink towards the end there, and one little spot on that fish, like we're talking like a ½ millimeter, didn't expose properly. So I was like, you know what, let's just redo it and let's turn the camera off and see exactly how long it takes to go from start to finish. So we stripped the screen, re-degreased it, dried it, coated it, dried it again, and then exposed it. And dude, it went by so fast, is ridiculous. If this was like a week ago, things would have been flying across the shop. I would have been freaking out, I would have been so pissed off. But when I saw it this time, I was like, oh, that's no big deal. That's actually a quick little fix. So yeah, the efficiency level has gone way up in here, which is amazing because I need to shave off that valuable time. And I definitely shaved off a ton of time with this. While we're on the topic of efficiency, I noticed a couple little things that I can improve on. The first thing is that I noticed a few things that I can definitely shave more time off and become more efficient. One is I need to find like an old egg beater or something to stick into a drill, so when I'm mixing inks, it's a hell of a lot easier and a hell of a lot faster. Clearly it's gonna be way faster, but it's also just doesn't feel nice. You know, I've got bad shoulders as a pro rider for a long time, and this shoulder is absolute garbage. I swear to God, if I sneeze or wipe my ass the wrong way, it dislocates itself. And you know, after mixing that goop around for a good 20 minutes, it doesn't feel too good, so I need to fix that first. Next is, I said I was done buying equipment, but I might not be just yet. I would like to get a second dip tank, just a small single screen one, or I might even rig something up yet, I don't know, but something I can just fill with water and pre-soak a screen in there while I prep the next one before washout, so that'll speed speed that whole process up and allow me to multitask. And this doesn't have much to do with efficiency, but while the camera's off, I actually did order the black dye conversion kit for that printer. I think I've only printed off like 30 positives out of that printer, and it's already out of ink. Like that's ridiculous. And the ink cartridges for it are crazy expensive, and I've never been happy with one of those positives yet. They've all been a little bit see-through, and I don't know, like I haven't had any issues yet, but I haven't felt good about it. So using the dye upgrade, it'll print out way more opaque positives, like way more. They will be solid black. You cannot see through those, and it's refillable, and it's way cheaper to refill. So all in all, that was just a smart move. So that'll be here, I don't know when. But yes, efficiency. I think I've worn that word out in this video by now, but the reason why I stress it so much, obviously, like I said, I'm one guy trying to run 2 businesses, so I need that. But the more efficient I can make myself, the less that I'm going to need to hire an employee. Obviously, I'm gonna grow this thing to the point probably soon where I'm gonna have to hire an employee and then another one, and you know, move out of here, another one, so on. But for now, the longer that I can go with doing all of this stuff by myself, the better it's gonna be for this business in the long run. That way I can start stacking up capital for the company, because like I've seen businesses hire people way too early and not be able to afford to pay them, but also so that I can stack up enough capital so that I can pay that employee, the first one and the second one, I can pay them well, because I wanna pay my employees what they're worth. I don't want to just give someone a minimum wage job, because I don't want to have minimum wage work in here. And also, like I said in the last video, we're not even close to done buying equipment yet. Yes, we're done with screen printing equipment for now, but you know, embroidery machine, wide format, all the stuff that I mentioned in there, that stuff all costs a crap load of money. Anyone who's familiar with it knows exactly what it costs, and yeah, it's crazy. So the longer that I can go without having to, you know, pay someone a full-time wage, the faster that equipment gets in here, and then the faster that this business grows and, you know, does whatever I want it to do. So yeah, I'm gonna tough these 2 companies out for as long as I can by myself. If you haven't noticed by now, hard work and challenges, I live for that shit. So putting in 12, 14, 16, 18-hour days on a daily basis, it's not really a big deal to me, and I really enjoy doing it. This is something that, you know, I don't dread doing every day. But how I use those hours is what counts. So every single thing that I can streamline in here, like the stuff that we did today, is gonna make such a difference in how many things I can get done in a day. But anyways, that wraps this one up. I'm working on a really cool project right now, and I'm hoping, really hoping, that things are gonna get moving on that a little more, so that for the next few videos we can show you what's going on. We're building a brand for somebody from scratch, so I think that's gonna be pretty cool. Not sure how it's gonna play out in video terms just yet, but I plan on documenting as much of that as humanly possible, so we'll figure that out. So click the links, all the stuff down below me, and we'll see you again in the next one.